Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for August 27, 2026. We keep graphics at tpatw.com. We also have a storefront on Amazon. Surface map for Thursday is rather interesting. High pressure dominating most of the country. We do have a little bit of a frontal system here in the Pacific Northwest, triggering some activity here in the upper portions of the mountains. Note we still have the Four Corners monsoonal flow and actually stretching a little on into the high plains. But the major front stretches all the way here from really Buffalo across Cleveland down to Nashville, all the way to Shreveport and back to Big Spring, Texas. Note that there's an awful lot of unsettled weather both ahead and along that front, all the way across the south and the southeast through Florida and up the eastern seaboard all the way into New England. Looking at our vitality index, which is a health implication composite of the individual weather elements, and you'll see there's very little really organized activity, although there's some spotted activity across almost all of the west, a little bit more concentrated, but relatively light down here in the southeast, and something going on here around the southern portions of the Great Lakes. Again, it's that time of year, and August has minimal pressure changes, and we see just a touch of some falling pressure here in northeastern Montana. We have a little bit of rising pressure here across the Great Lakes, mainly Michigan and the Michigan Upper Peninsula. Temperature changes, and we're just plain in the throes of the summer doldrums. And while we have extensive and high temperatures across most of the south, you can see there's a little bit of up and downs based on shower and shower activity. Note that we do have a little bit of increasing temperatures here, running about the panhandle of Nebraska and up into eastern Wyoming. Looking at the dew point temperature changes, and more importantly this time the vapor pressure changes, you can see that we're increasing the vapor pressure here in New England and the Northeast, the middle Atlantic states. We have a very interesting line of increasing vapor pressure here in the monsoon areas of the Four Corners and a little swath here in eastern Texas. But note that we have falling vapor pressure here right in these central plains and the middle Mississippi Valley and moving up toward the Great Lakes. Quite significant for many at this time of the year. Looking at instability, and while it isn't widespread or really dramatic, we do see there is a touch of instability here in the southeast, and it ranges on up into the middle Mississippi Valley. The change in oxygen availability, most significant of all for this day, and you'll see that we have a migraine risk across Vancouver, British Columbia, and across the state of Washington. We have a little bit of migraine stress here in some of the most basically central portions of Montana, trying to stretch on down into western Wyoming. We pick up another area of migraine risk along the southern areas of the Texas, in far west Texas to southwestern New Mexico. Very interesting area of migraine risk from central Texas across most of Louisiana, but note there is that other little risk of asthma and arthritis right about Dallas, and then a risk of migraine again across Oklahoma, southern Missouri into southern Illinois, Indiana, and up into the Great Lakes, mainly Michigan and Michigan Upper Peninsula. Another interesting little small area of migraine risk here in southern Alabama. Looking at asthma and arthritis, we have a touch of that again in northeastern New Mexico, and then up the plains from eastern Wyoming to Montana and western portions from the panhandle of Nebraska, western South Dakota and North Dakota. We have some risk of asthma and arthritis here in New England, but it is not an overpowering risk, relatively small, just with the kind of activity that's going on the weather front. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Final thing I'll say is that there's a significant portion of pollen and so-called allergy risk here across the northern plains, across the lakes into the middle Atlantic states. We still have the wildfires out here in the west. And of course, we have that full moon on Friday for those with mood implications. Thanks for visiting. Please do share where you're located if you're having some difficulties. And again, thanks for visiting.